Hey, we are live on Facebook. Listen, I want to first off, I'm very very grateful to have Richard Trevino joining us today. He has become a really super good friend of mine. The guy is an amazing speaker and a number one best-selling author of this book, Taming Turnover. It's an incredible book. You'll see more about Richard here in a second. I'm going to go ahead and bring him on in, and there he is. Richard, how you doing, man?
What's up, brother? Good to see you, man. Good to be on. Appreciate the opportunity to come on here with you.
Good to see you, bro. I'm glad you took the time. I know you're a busy guy. So
Sure.
hey, I'm gonna get Facebook open over here on my phone just in case I see comments here. But so tell me, man, what's been going on lately, bro?
A lot, man. A lot's been going on. So part of what's been happening is I just went to the next step in my business, right? So I've been as a personal development consultant and a coach and a speaker. That's what I've been doing for the last few years, and I've really actually been doing that in some way, shape, or form for the last 15 years. Involved with leadership, whether it be community or church or at in a corporate level or on a one-to-one basis with people. So that's what I've been doing for a while. But now recently what I did is I took that plunge to really start going to the next level, because what I want to be able to do is create a consulting firm where I'm able to help other people and bring them on to help businesses even further than what I'm helping them right now. I believe that good. Sorry.
We're gonna get to all that, man.
Oh, my bad. You asked me what's going on, man. You asked me what's happening, what I've been doing.
Sorry, dude. I just want to back up a little bit. I want to, I'm making this about, because I know you've done pretty well in life, and I mean, I won't tell everybody what kind of car you drive, but it's a nice one. But it's not the Ferrari yet, right? But
Not the Ferrari yet, man.
But I want to kind of start with, because this show that I'm doing it's called Breakthrough Walls Today, and it's literally about how we can go about putting out content that can help people have a breakthrough, because I truly believe that there are a lot of people in this world that hit road bumps, they get stuck, they don't know what to do to get out of it, and I think a lot of it has to do with we get stuck sometimes from childhood on up, right? Like it's like something happens and then like we carry that into our adult life, and so, I want to kind of talk about starting out where were you born and raised? I mean, I think I know, but I may not. I may be wrong. So
What's with all the questions? Who sent you?
Yeah. Where were you born and raised, man?
I already know this is going to be a fun.
Yeah.
Man, so I'm actually born and raised in Corpus Christi, Texas. Hecho in Corpus, which means in Spanish, made in Corpus. Yeah.
Oh, I knew that.
Yeah. Your next lesson.
Yeah.
So so I'm born in Corpus Christi, Texas, which if you don't know where that's at, it's all the way South Texas, bottom of Texas, probably like about 2.5 hours away from literally the border into Mexico. And so it's very different though, where it's a beautiful city, man. It's a small town, big city feel, I guess. So it's a small big city. So we're right here by the water and stuff. So, growing up with the beach and fishing and things of that nature it's been a lot of fun. Everything is literally within 15 minutes. So, I mean, it's a small town feel, but you have everything of a big city. So.
Right. So you were, and I know that I know you have a boat, and I know you're out on it a lot fishing as often as you can, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
But, so you grew up, that's like right there on the Gulf of Mexico, right?
Right.
And Elise Kephart just said, "Love the guitar in the background. Wish I knew how to play."
I'm gonna bring my saxophone and put it in the background.
I've heard you play the sax, man. You're pretty darn good at it. So I want to kind of talk about, so like when you were a kid, what did you what was being a kid down in Corpus Christi, Texas, and down there on the Gulf? Because I know, like, you were up here, you came up here spent a week at my house. Hey, Lisa, there's a lot of great people on here right now, by the way. But you came up here, spent a week at my house, and I think it really wasn't that cold. It was like 35 or something.
Dude, I almost died from frostbite out there. Hypothermia, I think it's actually what it was. I couldn't feel my face when I stepped outside. I was like, what the heck is wrong with you guys here, man? How y'all do? You're like, man, it's not even bad.
Right. So, like, I remember when it was like below zero here, you're like, dude, it's hot here. My air conditioning broke and like we're all sweating to death. And I'm like, dude, it's below zero here. And you're like, whatever, man. And so, and I'm not talking about just the climate, but what was it like for you growing up as a kid? What was life like?
So we're about to get into a really sad part of the story. No, I'm kidding.
Jeez.
No, growing up, man, I have there's 6 brothers and sisters, right? So we're 6 of us, 6 kids, and then my parents. And so my dad, he's always been in done construction type of work and carpentry work and things like that, roofing and stuff. And then he had gotten to the insurance industry and did okay for himself there. My mom has always, been a homemaker, so she's always been at the house taking care of me. You got almost half of a football team there. So, I mean, somebody got to take care of the monsters, right? So, wow. But that was, and my mom, I mean, she's on Facebook as well.
Yeah.
And she's an amazing person. One of my best friends as well. So,
she's a sweetheart. I love your mom. I like your mom more than you, actually.
Yep.
Wow, dude.
I'm not going to shut it off.
Wow.
So, no, but growing up, man, with that many brothers and sisters, you don't have the luxury of having everything that you really want or really need at times. My dad was, really, he was a sole provider for our family. And so we grew up, it was kind of tough. A lot of times it was tough, man. There was some times where we didn't have no food, barely had, some rice and beans and some fideo, which if you don't know what fideo is, vermicelli, that's what it's called. The essentials of being a Latino American in South Texas. So,
wow.
We had that. I mean, there was times where, literally, like I remember this like it was yesterday, where we literally would get like gallons of milk or water jugs or whatever, and we would take them to our neighbors at times and go get them filled up with their water hose, because our water was shut off. Light had gone off a few times, like that. And those were some of the memories that I have where, growing up, we didn't have the luxuries of much, because we were very limited in funds, and there's a lot of people, and a lot of mouths to feed. And so also, I was that kid that when I was growing up, at times, it wasn't all the time, it was just those roadblocks would happen, and, business would be slow for my dad, and we all would feel that, but he did the best that he could to provide, when he could, you know what I'm saying? So,
right.
I was that kid, at times where my toes were like, scrunched up in my shoes, and I didn't have the new Nikes or whatever, I had the Mikeys, and my toes were all scrunched up in there, and you wore your shoes till they wore off your feet. So there was a lot of hard times, but in it all, it's amazing because you don't realize a lot of times that you're poor, because other people around you are poor as well. And I wouldn't really even say poor. I would just say a lot of times it was hit and miss, so you kind of, but growing up that way, it kind of helped me to now, whenever I have anything in life and the pinnacles that I've had in my life, it's helped me to appreciate it that much more.
Right.
But that's how I was growing up, and my dad was really strict, very, 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 very strict. Yeah. So you didn't want to get in trouble too much, man, because in our home, we my dad apparently believed in butt whooping still. So,
yeah.
And I had one brother, Josh, and I think he's actually a friend of yours on Facebook as well.
Yeah.
And I've got 4 sisters. The 2 youngest ones, they're twins, and so they were the brattiest of the brats of the group. So
yeah, are they still?
That my parents kind of figured it out by that point. I mean, they got away with so much stuff in the end that I was just like, well, that's fun. We never got that privilege. We never got to go spend the night at anybody's house. When did y'all get to go to birthday parties? You know what I'm saying? So where was that when I was a kid? So, but that's how I grew up, man.
Wow. So, with the, and I know that your father is a minister, right?
He is now, yes.
He's
been for the last 25 years.
I sorry, you cut out. What?
For the last 25 years, we've been pretty heavily involved with church and had a turnaround in our life. My dad actually was at a point where he was started heavily getting involved with. He was an alcoholic. We got pretty much a lot of that in our families. There was one thing I was going to be good at. That was going to be be an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And I know all too well that arena, because we've talked about that many times, and you've shared publicly with everybody about your sobriety for many years now.
Right.
So everything that comes with that, and so there was a lot of abuse and different things, and not having because of him supporting those addictions that he had.
Right.
But came to finally a pinnacle moment in his life where he had to choose what was going to happen, and it was unfortunate because of circumstances in his life, he was pretty much forced to have to choose something better for his life, and thank God he did, because otherwise I probably wouldn't be here right now.
Right. So you so there were a lot of rough moments growing up for you, and at some point, what was your, you got out of high school? Did you go to college?
I did. I went for 3 years at A&M Corpus.
Okay. So you didn't get a bachelor's degree, or you did?
I didn't finish. That's what I always tell everybody.
Record time.
Yeah. I always tell everybody, you know what you get for going to college for 3 years?
A lot of debt.
Yeah, exactly. And a pat on the back, and they tell you, hey, come back, go get some more money, and let's try it.
Right.
Finish up. I got a wealth of knowledge, though. I learned a lot of different things, and I was able to experience, life a little bit more, especially coming out of the confines of a hovering father, that didn't really let you get out and do much, So I was able to, see what life actually was about.
So you, at some point, I mean, did you leave college and go to work at a fast food joint? What was the next step for you? I know that you ended up getting into sales at some point, but what happened after college?
So during college, I've always worked, man, since I was 11, 12 years old. I've always had a good work ethic. So my father, having his own business a lot of times in the roofing and stuff like that, I did all that, during the summers and after school stuff, and worked with him, and puking at 115 degree weather outside on the roof and stuff. So that was a huge inspiration to me and a motivation to me to do something different with my life. I didn't want to do that, and so I like having smooth hands and smelling good. So calluses weren't my thing.
Right.
So, but while I was actually in college as well, I was actually working. I was a working student, working at a print shop, and then I also I actually started some sales as well with the Kirby vacuum deal. Like a lot of people that I know, knocking doors and just getting out there. And I sold a few of them. Sold a $3,000 vacuum was pretty. And then after that, when I got out of school, I started working at a telemarketing place, and I got really good at working the phones and doing that, and that worked out real well. But the place was horrible, and I stayed there for about 6 months, 8 months, and I realized I got to do something else. And I was still living with my parents at the time, and so at the age of 21, I was actually already engaged with my wife. We were dating for a year, engaged for a year, and then we ended up getting married, and we moved in together once we got married. So I believe pretty firmly in and staying apart, and not living together until you actually do get married. But anyhow, that's my personal deal, right? But so we got married at the young age of 21, and So I had actually just turned 22. My wife was still 21, so I'm like 6 months older than she is. Anyhow, so we got married, moved to our first apartment, and I got into the insurance industry, and it was just natural. It was a super natural, helping people to protect to protect themselves and protect their family in the case of a loss, and providing good service to people. And it was sales, and so I really gravitated to it, and I grew really fast. I was a top number one agent out of like 36 agents, veteran agents that have been in the business for 15, 20, 25 years, and I was a 22-year-old kid that was green, wet behind the ears, and everybody made sure I felt that and understood that I was just a newbie. But to me, I was just like, hey, it's all good, man. You guys want to treat me like that? I don't care. I'm just here to make money. I've got to pay my new apartment, and I've got to take care of my wife, and I've got to fulfill that promise that I made to my father-in-law that I would take care of his daughter. You know what I'm saying? So that was it. That was my motivation. And I did really well with it. I did really well for the next 12 years. I worked with that company and did extremely well. Built teams, and I was manager for 10 of those years, and built people. And that was my big motivation for me, was helping develop people. And that was something that we'd been involved with church and youth group and different things like that. And I'd always been in a place of leadership, and so that just came really easy. And it's like that. And you and I have always talked about this, about that quote that if you help us, many people get what they want, then you also in turn end up getting what you want. And so even before I'd even heard that, that was part of my belief system, was helping people and elevating people, so that then eventually I knew it would trickle down and I would be blessed and, and getting taken care of as well. And it happened that way. Your volume went out.
Can you hear me?
No, I can hear you.
Oh, sorry. It was the button on this microphone. I accidentally hit it quite often. But you and I have talked about, there's a lot of people out there that talk about like helping people and blah, blah, but they don't actually do it. Like, it's just like a thing that they're saying and trying to make the world believe that but I've seen you in action. Like, you literally help people, and I, you're also, you have a, I don't know, the world probably doesn't realize how funny you are. I always call you up and say, "What's up, preacher man?" Because you're a minister as well, right? You're in the ministry,
yeah, yes.
And so, but you have this. When that hurricane hit down there, hey, there's Lisa Patrick. Hey, Lisa. So that hurricane hit down there. Oh, you want to tell everybody what you did? That was kind of funny, actually.
It was funny because it was probably it was one of the videos that I got the most views on. And every once in a while I check it and it's still going up. It was nuts. But I grabbed my phone and this is in the middle of a hurricane. I forgot the name of the hurricane, but the hurricane was already supposed to be coming. What is it?
I forget the name of it now.
I did too, but it was supposed to be already coming to get us, and so right at Corpus, and I'm here, and I'm just like looking outside, and we're watching the news and stuff, and I'm like, and downtown Corpus and Port Aransas, you've got these weather reporters. They're like, "Oh my God, you've got to help us! Oh, it's getting horrible." Yeah. And literally, you have like some granny that comes out of nowhere, has a case of beer in her hands, and walks by and looks at him like he's nuts. And she's like, "Here," and gives him a case of beer. And it's like, dude, they were like hyping it up so bad. And so every time I went live, I kept on going live to let everybody know we were still alive and everything was good. We couldn't leave because we had people from our church that couldn't leave.
Hurricane Harvey. Laura Peterson just dropped in. Hey, Laura, thank you for that. Hurricane Harvey.
That's it. And so every time I kept on going on, I'm like, this is a bunch of fake news, man. This is ridiculous. They're just hyping this thing up. They want to make everybody, think this is like, oh my God, we're all going to die. And with all due respect, some people, they lost everything. And it eventually did happen. But during that time, that was a feel. So I'm like aggravated. I'm a little upset. I'm like, dude, this is ridiculous. I'm going to put a stop to this. I'm going to be that guy.
Yeah.
And so live, and I'm like, oh my God, it's horrible out here.
you were moving the phone all around. It was funny. It looked real. Like, it looked like you were like, dude, get off your front porch, man. That looks horrible. I was thinking that.
Yeah, it was funny, man. And all I saw was the views go. They started going through the roof. I'm like, what the heck? And I'm like, oh, we're out here right now. It's crazy. There's dogs and cats flying everywhere. There's trees flying and then I start slowing down, and I'm like, and the trees are like standing still, and I'm like,
barely, the tops are barely moving. It's like,
and I'm like, well, there were trees flying a while ago. Oh, maybe not that one, but that one's stubborn. But disregard that tree. And so it was bright and sunny out here. Like it was.
Now,
it was great.
Harvey did take a turn, and by the grace of God for you, it missed Corpus, but it went up into Texas, and
it went into Houston, man.
Yeah,
went into
it caused some serious destruction. A lot of people died. So, but the not to turn this conversation the wrong way, but Laura Peterson said that was seriously the best. Because it was funny. I remember I was like, dude, get out. I kept calling, just so everybody knows, I was calling Richard going, dude, you need to go, man. You need to go. And he's like, I'm not going anywhere. I said, dude, why? Why won't you leave? Go away. It was almost like when you were staying at my house. I'm like...
That's messed up. I'm gonna leave a bad review for you on Yelp. That's what.
That's funny. Hey, Dan Kelleher's in here. What's up, Dan? No, but why don't you tell everybody what you told me? Why you weren't leaving Corpus? It had nothing to do with whether the storm was going to be bad or not.
It really did, man. And that was it, is that we made a decision to stay for a couple of different reasons. One of the reasons was because we had church people, people that attend our church, that members there, that they couldn't leave. Some of them were older, and we had to stay behind to help them put boards on their house, because it's literally like all they had left. So we were helping them put boards. In-laws put boards. Some of the neighbors put boards. And some of those people, they were just putting boards on the house so they could leave.
Right.
But some of them didn't have anybody else to help them out. So we're like, well, who's going to help them? So we helped them. That's because we were there. So we helped them. My wife is also, she's a NICU nurse, a neonatal ICU nurse at Driscoll Children's Hospital. And so she actually was one of the ones that had to stay as well. So she had being a nurse, they made them stay there as well. So she was staying. And so, I've got my son, and whom we actually had just, adopted. And so, part of me was there was a struggle, within me, like, do I take him now? Do we leave? Would we run? What do we do? And we just had to maintain, a positive attitude, man, and faith, and that everything was going to be okay. And by doing the right thing, that everything would work out okay. And by helping other people for the right reasons, I truly believe this is one of my principles that I believe, is that by doing the right thing, helping other people and helping them and to get to a better place, that somehow or another, I don't know how it works, but somehow or another, God sees that, and He's like, I got you too. So I truly believe that. And so that's what we say. That's what we say.
And Dan Keller says, I think I was watching that hurricane for Richard more than he was. So was I. He didn't care. It was like he was just like, hey, let's go fly a kite.
He really could have. But again, part of it was just exposing the fact that, because a lot of people had family down here, and they're like, oh my God, my family, my friends, and whomever,
Yeah.
And it's, look, I was trying to just alleviate that also from people, that from their minds and from their heart and the troubledness, and of like, oh my God, are they going to be okay?
Right.
And just alleviate them and let them know, look, it's not as bad as it seems. Because that was the only source of news for a lot of people, was what was happening on CNN or online or whatever. And so for me, I just wanted to help to, to just calm them down a little bit and let their blood pressure come back down.
Yeah. And I think, excuse me, staying calm in the middle of the storm is important. It really is. So there's a life lesson in that. But, I want to talk a little bit about, so you did the insurance sales, for 12 years. And, what happened after that? What was next?
And so there was I was doing extremely well, man. The second half was obviously better than the first, and it always typically happens that way, right? So within the sales industry in general, but also in the insurance industry, they have one of the highest turnover rates, in any industry. And so I saw that happening throughout the industry and throughout the time that I was there. And I did the best that I could to try to, minimize the amount of people that I was turning over within my staff and the people that I had direct management over and stuff, and they were under my leadership. And I did a good job of that. I was actually had held some of the best turnover rate in our retention. I'm sorry, the same thing, retention in our staff. And so towards the end, there was a change in shift in of upper management, and those on the VPs that came in. Just man, she had a hammer in her hands, and so everything looked like a nail, right? So she just slamming everything, promising to they're gonna radically change everything. That everything we were doing was horrible, and there was a lot of bad things that were happening around us.
Yeah.
But the problem was that in the middle of it all, myself and my team that I had already grown and had groomed these people and had developed them that were doing amazing. We were one of the highest paid staffs, highest paid employees within our region, within our district, and so. We were doing good, but in the middle of it all, we were sitting there and everything around us clouded them from seeing that we were actually doing it right and I could help them do it a better way. So nonetheless, I got, everything took a turn for the worse. She started smashing everybody and firing people. A lot of good people lost their jobs. A lot of people got pushed into retirement, and, there was some ulterior motives there. And so, everything changed, and they started putting a lot of pressure on me. And then during that time, running all over the place. And, I've been struggling for the last probably 7, 8 years, 9 years, with some back issues. And, when you're making money, everything else is secondary, right? Everything else is secondary. Right. You just keep chopping away, man. You keep chopping away. Your back hurts. You pop in a leaf and you just keep moving. You stretch a little bit and get back in the saddle, keep moving, because the wheels got to keep turning. And so, I was part of the machine. And so that was my mindset. And, I did well with it. Little did I know that I was actually losing my wife, who was in my family. I'd already lost touch with church, with my friends, myself. My health was going down faster than I thought. And next thing you know, I started getting to the point where I'm getting stuck at the office, where I'm literally sitting at a desk and I'm typing, and I reach down to grab coffee or something, and my back it just locks up. I can't get up, and they have to pick me up, and I have to wiggle my way to the chiropractor so they can go adjust me and get me popped back. So health starts deteriorating. Everything is going awry, and that's what happens when you put your focus like that and you don't stay balanced. So I'm a firm believer of balance now. Back then I wasn't. So, and so what ended up happening was I went to the doctor, and he's like, it got so bad. I could barely even move. I could barely walk. And, it would just really just put me in a place where, disable me, I couldn't move. Right. And so the doctor's like, look, you have a herniated disc. You got a hernia in the front as well. So you got a lot of problems. It's going to continue getting worse because your body's not right. So I ended up having to get a major surgery on my back, and it put me out. And so for 6 months I was out, and not one phone call, not one card, not one email, not flowers
from the people you were working with. You mean?
Yeah. Not even flowers, not even dead flowers. Not even mean text messages, nothing. Wow. I didn't get anything. And I later found out that the higher up managers, they had told the people they could not contact me. They were not to contact me or anything like that. And so, and I didn't know it at the time, right? So I felt kind of really bad about that. And I went through a really dark place because everything of my identity was tied into what I was doing in my career. Right. And it was hard. It was very difficult to go through that time. And then, your phone be hot and you're constantly punching out, massive amounts of phone calls. And all of a sudden it goes just dry. Nobody's calling you. Nobody cares about you. It was difficult. And so during that time, when I got the back surgery, then I ended up having to give 3 months later, get a hernia surgery, double surgery. And then, I got a letter finally from the company that they just said, you're cutting your contract you're no longer working with their company. And so, after that, I just started going online, and I started getting more involved with Facebook and in a different way. Yeah. And started learning a whole lot more. And I started realizing that there was a life and a world outside of the world that I had constructed and I'd been constricted to all those years. Right. In corporate companies, they do a good job at that, where they try to make sure to put your blinders on to make you feel like there's nothing outside of our company. Right. Possibilities or hope outside of here. And that's part of the machine, but for the first time, my eyes I was like, and I was like, man, there's life out here, and there's opportunity. And so I started getting involved with writing my first book. I got involved with a program that helped me to write a book, and I'm like, I've got plenty of content, and there it is, and that's what it was about, man. That's what I had enough content right there, and it was something I was very passionate right at that moment that I just wanted to be able to get that. And it was a healing process for me just to get that off my chest, and write about it as well. And not only that, but help people. The book is all geared towards taming turnover, how to create a better company culture for your people, that you're leading. And it's for leadership in general, not just in our industry and in insurance. It's for any industry. And it's just to help people do it a better way, lead people a better way.
Right. So you have, you wrote the book, and it's quite a story, about how you hit the bestseller list and, didn't think you were going to make it. And I can relate with my book. I didn't think I was going to make the bestseller list, and I ended up hitting it. Like you did, but you became a #1 best-selling author on Amazon and stayed there for quite a long time. So that's amazing, actually. It's really quite an accomplishment. So, Lisa Patrick, I think she left. She said she had to leave, but she had asked a question about, talk about how you did the self-publishing and all that. And I, again, a lot of people have heard you talk about that. I think, and you and I created that course, the Publish Author Academy, to help people, because there's courses out there that are $4,000 and $5,000 to learn how to write a book and become a published author. And we talked about it, and it's like, no, dude, let's do something that's affordable for everybody. So it's only like $397 or whatever we're selling it for, which is dirt cheap. So what is, in your opinion, because I know that, like, and I wanted to ask you about the yellow. Like, yellow is like the color you've chosen for, there you go, for like to stand out, to brand yourself. What's that all about, man?
So I get this question all the time about the yellow, right? And they're like, what's the yellow about? What's the yellow about? Why do you have a yellow pocket square, yellow Pumas, and a yellow watch?
Right.
And obviously, for the first reason was because of branding. I wanted to make sure to brand myself with a color, but because I'm a personal development consultant and I speak on everything personal development, and like you're talking about, I truly want to help people. Yellow is a color that represents happiness, sunshine, positivity, personal development. It's a constant reminder. You can't look at yellow and be like, oh man, that makes me sad. It just
yeah.
And so for me, it's a constant reminder to me to stay upbeat, even when things get difficult, even when things are hard, even things are tough, to try to maintain your positivity even in the middle of life storms.
Yeah.
So the yellow, that's what it represents. But it's funny because, yellow also has another meaning. And the color yellow also, like, people, they can use it in a bad way where they'll say, oh, you're just a yellow belly. I don't know. These are old school, right? So they're like, oh, you're yellow, saying you're scared or whatever, And so that also is part of it. It's because no matter what, right, in anything, there's always a positive and negative. There's always good and bad. Yeah. We always hope that the positive things outweigh the negative things. And so with yellow, the positive things absolutely outweigh the negative. So you have like 10, 15, 20 different things about positivity, about what the yellow represents. And you have that one or two things that describe it in a negative way, right? But that is life. That is us. That is my life. That is your life. That's all of our lives. We're good people, and the vast majority of us are good people. And who we are, we have good things inside of us. We're not horrible. We're not bad. We're not terrible. We have different areas of our life that they need some improvement, but it's always small things in small areas of our lives, making those small little adjustments.
Yep.
And by doing that, then it makes huge changes. But the fact of the matter is we have great things going on in our lives and great things of who we are, and just very small little things. So that's what the whole thing about the yellow is, but again, it's a lot of it's branding and it's funny because I went to the 10X Growth Con the first year, and then I also went this year.
That's when you and I met.
Yeah, exactly.
We met at the first 10X Growth Con. I didn't even know who you were. You didn't know who I was.
Right.
Well, I think you knew who I was. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But like, we were in the same hotel. We stayed in the same hotel, and we were waiting. Huh?
Caught the same Uber a few times.
Yeah, it was interesting. So, but sorry, go ahead. So you were talking about that.
Yeah, so with the yellow, that was the first thing I did. I'm like, well, hey, because I'd already been connecting with a lot of people and got a massive amount of support from friends and connections here on Facebook that bought my book, and everybody was taking pictures of my book and, hey, we just got the book, hey, get this book, and everybody's giving great reviews and stuff. And it was amazing support from friends and family members and new connections on Facebook and friends on the social media that now we're way closer, And so what I told everybody, because it's always funny on social media, people, they a lot of times don't look exactly like their picture. And person's a little different. And so, before I got there to the convention, I said, the conference, I told everybody, hey, if you want to come tell me what's up, or if any of you guys wanted your assigned book, let me know. I'll be the guys in the yellow pockets wear and yellow Pumas.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And ever since then, everybody kept on hashtagging yellow pockets wear yellow Pumas. And everywhere I went, some people even told me, they're like, man, I didn't recognize you, but when I saw your shoes and I saw your pockets, I knew it was you. So I had to come tell you hi. And so that's always a pretty cool experience.
Right. And you got Grant Cardone to sign those Pumas, didn't you? Yeah,
Grant Cardone, the first year for 10X, man, he signed my shoes. There was another guy there that was like, hey, sign my shoes. And he was on the spot, and they had the filming and stuff, and Grant was there, and Grant's like put in a weird position because the guy had his foot on the ground and had his shoes on his feet, and I yelled out, I was like, hey, have some class.
Yeah.
Pick your foot, take your shoe off.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's the guy's event, you know what I'm saying? Who does that?
Right.
So when I saw that, I'd actually wanted him to sign my shoes. So when I caught him coming around the edge, I'd already taken my shoes off, and I ran over there, and a buddy of mine actually was like, dude, get in there. I'll take pictures for you. I was like, all right, cool.
That's
so I get in there and I push through, and I'm like, hey, can you sign my shoes? And he's like, hey, I appreciate that, man. So we got to talking a little bit, had a few words there with him and stuff, and he signed both my shoes. So a lot of times when I actually go speak at companies, I will actually wear them if they allow me to. Some of them, they're like not into it. They're like, no, just wear some dress shoes, sir.
Yeah, right.
So I'm like, all right, it's all good. But when I go, it just reminds me, to 10X what I'm doing, 10X everything, the energy level, the content.
And you've done a great job, branding yourself with the yellow. I love that, man. You're really getting out there. So, with the, so now you're doing, the speaking and consulting and personal development stuff for what, insurance companies primarily, right? Or
a lot of what I do is with insurance companies, but I've already broken into other industries, which is amazing. That's what I wanted to be able to do, because personal development's for everybody. And so when I say personal development, I always tell people they say, what do you do? I'm going to say, I'm a personal development consultant on topics such as, and then real quick, I do it because otherwise they're like, personal development, oh, here we go, arts and farts. And,
right.
Where their mind usually goes. But in the corporate world, they understand it better. An HR director is going to understand that lingo a lot better, where they're like, okay, personal development. Okay, so that's going to be topics of productivity. It's going to be things of leadership. It's going to be company culture. Yeah. It's going to be all of that type of stuff, an entrepreneurial mindset and overcoming certain things. And so it deals with a lot more than just, becoming better, There's a lot more specifics in it. And so because of that, I've been able to get into other industries like the real estate industry, loan industry. And so, but I do a lot of work with insurance companies, and I've been able to do some work with actually one of the largest insurance companies in the galaxy. It's actually true, unless there's insurance companies like out on Mars somewhere.
There probably are, but which company?
That's New York Life. New York Life.
Yeah, they're huge.
Yeah, so and then Aflac, I've done some work with them as well, and then also a few different other companies and stuff. But I try to make sure that regardless if it's a massive company like that or it's a smaller company, or I have a one-on-one coaching client that I have,
Right.
and I'm working with them, and they're just getting started. I want to make sure, like for me, it means a lot to make sure to give that person as much value and as much of myself and who I am and what I can provide for them as just as much as I would, a New York Life or Fortune 500, Fortune 100 company, So for me, that's always a big thing.
Right. So you're doing that. You're and I assume you get probably a lot of referrals and stuff like that to these various companies. And are you doing any speaking engagements as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And so a lot of times what happens is though it's starting to happen to where because of those referrals, they love the way I speak, they love the presentation, they love the energy level. And so a lot of people have already kind of coined me as an inspirational consultant.
Yeah.
Because I don't do typical consulting where it's just, real dry and drab and it's like drawings, that guy,
Right.
At it with everything that I've got, man, because I have a theory, right? And I've got a principle that I live by as well. And that's that every single day, today could be my last day. One of these days it's going to be my last day on this earth.
Yeah.
And so this life that we have, this is no one's permanent residence. We're not going to be here forever. We're going to move on to hopefully greater things, right? But I take that and every opportunity that I get to be able to speak to a company or consult with them, do anywhere, coaching, whatever it is, and I say, I want to give everything I have. I want to leave it all out on the field, on the court. I want to leave it all out there. I don't care if there's 5 people, 1 person, or there's 200 people or 2,000 people. I want to make sure to give them everything because one of these days, it'll be the last talk that I gave. It'll be the last keynote that I gave. It'll be the last consulting opportunity, the last coaching call, and it'll be the last thing. And so by living that way and believing that way, it's a conviction that lives within me to give everything that I have because one day it'll be the last time that I do it.
Right. Dude, that's incredible. So what's next for you, man?
So right now, this last major step that I just did. So I'm also a writer, right? For besides the book and stuff, I'm also a writer for 5 of the largest personal and professional development publications in the world. So one of those being Entrepreneur, Ask Man, Thrive Global. Addicted to Success, the Goodman Project. And so with those, my work has already been picked up with them. And so one of the things I'm going to be doing is trying to put more content out there, more free content for everybody so everybody can get more, just get more contact and they can be able to, they don't have to pay anything for it. They can just get that and continue their personal development or professional growth. So recently also what I did is I started my new company of Elevation Consulting Firm. And so right now, as we're taking off, we're getting some more clients. And one of the things that I want to be able to do is I'm seeking out good talent, seeking out solid people that have solid core values that are just like you were saying earlier, living it. They're living it. They're not just not just talking about it and trying to tell people that they're helping people, but they're living it and they are getting out there. They are helping people. They are not just adding value in the sense of just words, because words is just,
right.
It's like, it's 10% of what people actually, the impact you have on people. And I think it's like 60 something or 67, 68% of the impact that you have on them is based on behavior and what you do. So, a lot of people put this stuff out there on social media that, they're talking about a good game, but you don't really ever see anything happen. And then when it comes out to it, whenever they're doing programs or anything like that, and they're geared towards a point. And I can understand that to a point, where you can help people. But like you and I did when we created that program for the Published Author Academy.
Yeah.
We put it affordable to people. Why? Because our big goal was to help people become a published author.
Right.
Right. And not to pay, a couple of months of their salary. That's
right.
or go into debt because of it. We literally wanted to help people, so our actions spoke a whole lot louder than our words did.
Right.
But that's what I'm doing right now. So I'm looking to grow my business and pick up more clients, and again, bring on good talent to help me in different areas of their expertise, and just find out how we can take somebody's bottom line and be able to raise that up exponentially. And bottom line, right, is to help them grow their people so that their profits are growing as well. In turn, what it's going to do is going to create a better company culture, a better company, a better place for people to work in and want to actually go to work.
Right. Love that, dude. Love that. So, hey, Aaron Beachy. Aaron Beachy's actually going to be at my house tomorrow. He's a buddy of mine, a client of mine. Him and his brother are both clients of mine. So, but hey, I mean, you got a lot of moving parts. I know you just took your new website live recently, and it looks fantastic, and you just got a lot of great things going. And I wanted to bring you on and introduce you to my audience, which, we share a lot of mutual friends and connections, but for those that don't know who you are, I wanted to make sure they know you, man, because you're funnier than heck, and I said I gotta tell everybody, growing up in Texas and being a Latino American, you've had probably lots of Mexican food. But when Richard came up to my house here in Ohio, what was the first restaurant I took you to?
The only Mexican restaurant in Ohio. I'm like, hey, dude,
it's very authentic, isn't it?
Yeah, it actually was really, really good.
Yeah.
But I think the first thing I told you was like, hey, dude, I like pizza. I like hamburgers. I don't just automatically assume.
That's funny.
But that's our relationship, man, because we joke around.
I mean, we have a lot of fun, and I want people to know who you are that don't know who you are, because you've got a heart of gold. You're a good dude. You're a really, really good guy. You're one of my best friends in the world, and I'm very grateful that you tried to steal my Uber that time. And I'm just teasing, but no, I'm very grateful for you, man. I love you like a brother, and I really again, I wanted to have you come on. This is going to be out on the Binge TV networks, and I mean it goes global across 50 different networks. So hopefully we can get you some attention. So anybody definitely in the insurance world that needs some help building a team or getting their numbers up or whatever, definitely reach out to Richard. Richard, how does everybody find you on social media?
By clicking on Facebook. That's it. No, I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm also on Twitter. And my website is actually www.elevationconsultingfirm.com. Elevationconsultingfirm.com. Also, Richard Trevino II.com.
I will put. Hey, Monica Cardoza is on. I hope I'm saying her name right.
You got the pronunciation.
So it's www.elevationconsultingfirm.com. Right?
Yes, sir.
Boom, there it is. I just put it up on the screen. So there's the link to Richard's website. That is how you get in touch with Richard. Reach out to him. All of your social media stuff is on elevationconsultingfirm.com. If you have any needs, I mean, Richard and I, bounce a lot of things off of each other. And notice, by the way, I put that in yellow for you, so I don't know if you noticed that. I got you, man.
Yeah, I'm back now.
But you're significantly younger than me, which is bothersome, but whatever. So but you're still like you have a lot of wisdom for your years, and I love being able to call you up and talk to you. So thank you for jumping on the show. I appreciate you coming on, and as you already know, if there's ever anything I can do to help you, feel free to reach out. Thank you to everybody who came on the show. Thank you to everybody for watching and sharing this out. I'm very, very grateful for that. And we've got some really, really special guests coming on, in the very, very near future. So probably not as special as my buddy Richard, but I love this dude. Love this dude. Guys, make sure you go follow Richard if you're not already friends with him. Send him well, you're maxed out, aren't you, at 5,000?
No, I just made room the other day.
Oh,
I don't tell nobody, man. I just do it. I just go on there, clean house. I want real connections, man, and that's just the way it is. I mean, I want real connections. I don't want people just taking up space for somebody because the reality is this, right? I met you through social media.
Yeah.
And now you're literally one of my best friends, man, and we talk all the time, and we're doing business together, and this never would have happened had we not had this platform and having social media. It would have never happened. But look at the possibilities that have now been created for all of us.
Yeah.
And what if I would have been maxed out and I would have, and you would have friend requested me? Well, you couldn't have because it wouldn't have gone through. Or what if you would have been maxed out and I would have, it's the same thing. And so that connection, that friendship, and a partnership in business would have never happened. So for me, I want to make sure to make, good personal context. And I want to make sure that I'm delivering value to people. Right. And if I'm not, cool. Guess what? If I'm not for you, that's okay too. Because people, I prefer them to like me, or love me, or hate me. Because I heard this actually this morning. They said on social media, people are either going to love you or hate you because there's no in between with that.
No.
There's no progress for anybody.
There's not.
So
that's
I prefer
correct.
Open up spaces and for some solid contacts, people that are actually able to benefit from the content that I'm putting out there free on these platforms.
Did you watch my interview with Hank Norman yesterday? I mean, this came up and I said, dude, how do you, and I won't go into what, but he's like, I don't care. I really, truly don't care. I mean, and he does. He really doesn't care. He doesn't care. Like he's like, dude, hey, if you
see that, they need to go on your feed, man, and they need to go see the last your show from yesterday. That was Hank is he's a wild man. I mean,
Hank is a wild man, but dude, he's created so many freaking rock stars, like major. Yep. Like he worked with Oprah. He's he created Steve Harvey. He created the Oxygen Network for Oprah. He created The View. He's worked with, he created Grant Cardone, helped build him up to where he is, and so many others, just superstars. He's an amazing guy. But again, so are you, and this is about you, and that's where I want it to stay. This is about you, and I wanted to make sure that everybody that doesn't know you, that's in my network, that they now know you, they know who you are because you're a great dude, and I love you like a brother, man.
Likewise, my brother. I appreciate you, man. Thanks so much, Ken. I appreciate you coming on.
All right. Hey, thank you to everybody for jumping on here. Thank you for all the shares, the likes, the love, and the laughter, and we will be back, I think on Friday we have Lisa Copeland coming on. So appreciate you guys. Have a great day, and we'll see you soon. Peace out.